Hi, Roy here on my channel, Roy Reads Anything, including stuff from reading events, which is what's giving me most of my September TBR. So telling you about the stuff I'm reading during September. And September, coming as it does after August, is the sort of next thing to happen. Like Boxing Day comes after Christmas, the next thing to happen after Garb August. So having spent a month reading mainly trashy books, I thought a bit of a change might be nice. So when I saw Shaketember being talked about on Kelly's Books I'm Not Reading channel, I thought, yes, I could some Shakespeare, that's the thing. So got down my complete works of William Shakespeare, happen to have lying around. This book belonged to my grandfather, so he's got a stamp there, says he got it in 1933. Quite a nice frontispiece showing a rather sinister looking Shakespeare, sort of showing off, here's all the groovy characters I've invented, check them out. And it's a pretty nice edition. It's interesting. My grandparents, I don't remember them having a lot of books. They would read a lot of books, but that'd be library and just paperbacks they'd kind of give away, I think. But the books they had in their flat, there was a set of Dickens, this Shakespeare book, and I think something like an encyclopedia as well. So it's sort of like the minimal set of culture you'd want to have. So this one, you got some nice colour pictures, and there's some photographs too. So if this was 1933, well, not sure when it would have actually been printed. So photographs of notable actors of the day. So here we have Sir Frank Benson. Sir Frank Benson playing Caliban. A guy I happen to have read about. So Frank Benson, as well as being a performer, he was the manager of a company, and they would tour the country, and over a couple of weeks in a city, they would do a whole bunch of Shakespeare plays. And this was happening end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th. So it's really well known, and with like a selection of plays and matinees and so on, people were seeing lots and lots of Shakespeare with Frank Benson and his raffish crew of actors, which included at one point Arthur Machen. Arthur Machen, the author of some fantastic weird fiction, was for a while an actor in Frank Benson's troupe. And apparently Arthur Machen as a sorcerer conjuring up spirits was quite something to see. Anyway, yes, the hairy-handed gent there is Frank Benson. If you've ever wondered what Arthur Machen's boss might look like. So, am I going to read in here? Possibly. I mean, I've watched a lot of Shakespeare. I haven't really read Shakespeare since school. So I have started on Romeo and Juliet kind of training wheels version, and I'm actually finding it very useful, because I think when watching Shakespeare, I'm pretty happy if I'm understanding it well enough to follow the plot, and some of the broad sense of what's going on, whereas the whole depth of the language and the wordplay and the poetics of it all, there's a lot there that I'd like to get into, really. So I'm reading a version with notes, and I'm actually really enjoying that. Obviously, it's not a fast process, but more like reading poetry, really. So enjoying that, and we'll watch a Romeo and Juliet at some point as well. Probably do others too. So yes, Shaketember. I'll link to Kelly's announcement video and the co-hosts down below. Shakespeare. Other classics of this month. Conan. It is Cimmerian September, as initiated by Michael K. Vaughan. So the idea is to read all of these stories, sword and sorcery fiction stories about Conan the Barbarian, written by Robert E. Howard. So these are there are lots and lots of pastiche stories, but these are the original and only and best of the Conan stories, which I've got in this lovely one-volume edition. That's probably my favourite version to have. Also got these Del Rey ones. Sort of geeky point is that I'm reading the stories in here, but in the order they're put in these other books for some reasons. But yes, for the avoidance of doubt, I firmly believe that Robert E. Howard's Conan stories are the best ones and the only ones that you might ever need to read. And so far, really enjoying revisiting them in this book. I might read some comic books as well. You know, one thing that, as a big character in sort of popular culture, Conan's been in lots of comics. I remember when I was at school, the end of compulsory schooling, which in this country is like when you're 16, school finished, but we'd done all the exams, but we still had to go to school for like a couple of weeks. You know, they legally couldn't let us go, even though there was nothing to do anymore. So a lot of the time we were sitting around in like free periods or sort of private study. And one of the other lads, should say it was a boys' school, said, "Oh, Nip, why don't you bring in some of your comics?" You know, people knew I had all these comics, and I thought, well, what would my fellow pupils possibly like? So the Savage Sword of Conan, which is a black and white magazine style comic book about this character. I brought in a stack of those, and about half the class were reading these. So there'd be this silence, just with people turning pages. And now and again, somebody would say something like, "Well, has anybody got part 2 of Worms of the Earth?" Anyway, yes. So Conan is good. And another thing I'm doing is something I'm doing for the first time. So whereas this is rereading things I've read a million times before, somehow I've never read Dune by Frank Herbert. Never read it, never seen the films. I know of it. I know what a sandworm looks like. Who doesn't? But actually never read the book. So seeing this coming up as a group read on MJ's channel, thought, yep, this could be the time. I'm actually reading it on Kindle, but to me, this is what Dune looks like, and I felt I had to get one of these books. So this was a New English Library edition. I think this came out in this with this cover with some slight variations from like the late 60s through till the end of the 70s. Cover by Bruce Pennington, wraparound cover, no blurb. Interesting. It's just here it is, Dune, the famous book you've all heard about. Take it or leave it. So yes, I felt I had to have this. I've managed to find this at a reasonable price. Dune stuff seems to be costing lots of money at the moment. Got the other ones too that have the covers by Bruce Pennington. Again, all done in the same way. Got a bit of a fading spine issue on some of these, but I just love this artwork. It sort of seems so evocative, and who knows? You know, there's loads and loads of Dune books. It's one of those franchises you can pretty much live in if you like it. So yep, and at the moment I'm reading stuff turn and turn about, but I'll probably settle down and read those things one at a time, so I can get fully immersed into the worlds of these various things. So it's Shakespeare, sword and sorcery. Why am I doing this? It's Shakespeare, it's sword and sorcery, it's June, is the stuff I'm reading. Also Brigadier Gerard by Arthur Conan Doyle. It's all about the Conans. I've got down my Conan figure as well to be a sort of mascot for this this Cimmerian month. So a kind of a grumpy King Conan figure that I used to have at work in my office. I thought he'd be a good sort of emblem to have in my workspace. There was a time when we had a kind of a battle of the action figures in the office, and at one point he was kidnapped and taken to Blackpool. Okay, that's all I've got to say. I'll be back soon with something else. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.